Shane Steichen's kind of amped about the opening game coming up on Sunday, season opener against the Dolphins. All things are possible at this point, and that's a good thing. There's hope in the unknown, and there's total unknown as to what's going to happen this year. Everybody's starting 0-0. Here's Shane Steichen talking about the opener, talking about the season.
Just depends. I don't know. You watched the game last night. Both teams started pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, you have your openers, and you go through them and see how it goes.
Did you find the need at all to address what happened at the start of last night's game?
I have not addressed anything like that yet. The team.
Will you?
We'll see. Yeah.
Shane, when you don't kind of tip your hand during the preseason or these joint practices, what do you like to see from practice or just this offseason, to feel confident in the execution when you kind of open things up?
Yeah, I think you build that execution, though, through training camp and all the preparation you put into it. And then, obviously, week one, you're tweaking a few things schematically to fit, who you're going against. So that's the big thing, is looking for the execution on Sunday. Week one, you put in some new stuff, try to attack a defense, and you go from there, but really looking for execution.
We've talked a little bit about Miami, but what would you say is kind of the hallmark of their defense?
I think it starts up front with their D-line. I talked about those guys the other day. Their edge rushers are really good players. They got 4 of them. The inside guys are strong, so that'll be a good matchup for our guys up front, a challenge we're looking forward to. Like I said, I think they built that thing up front. They got some good linebackers. 2025, a good player, and getting Minka over there from Pittsburgh has been a hell of a player in this league for a long time. So they got some good players. It's going to be about matchups, winning those one-on-one matchups when the time comes on Sunday.
Shane, what are your emotions going into Sunday?
It's a good question. I'm excited, I'll tell you that. I think honoring Mr. Irsay, I think there's a lot more to it. Obviously, week one with him going into the Ring of Honor, and honoring this season. I keep saying that, but what he's done for so many people in this city, this organization, what he's meant to so many people, not only in the city, but out of the city. It'll be a big week one for us as a team.
Do the nerves lessen the more you get into your head coaching career, grow?
I think they lessen a little bit. Obviously, you go through it. Once the game starts, you're coaching. You know what I mean? But you're going through your preparation. I think that's the biggest part of this thing as a coach and a player. If your preparation's on point, obviously, you don't have any doubts about it going into the game. So, feel good about our preparation. But now it's time to go execute.
Nick Cross, full-time starter last year for the first time in his career. What's the next step for him going into year 4?
I think keep growing each and every day and every year. He had a good year last year, and I think making another jump this year with his playmaking ability. Obviously, had a ton of tackles last year, and taking the ball away. I think as a defender, especially on the back end, is getting those takeaways are a big part of it too.
How do you fight the balance of when you talk about completions? Mm-hmm. How do you fight the balance of horizontal finding completions, but yet knowing you have to be vertical to some degree?
Yeah, no question. I think you got to have everyone in every game plan goes into the game plan with vertical shots and whatever it may be. And if they're there, you got to take them. You know what I mean? If you got an opportunity to take them, if not, you're going to have to check the ball down. But when they're not there, that's what I'm talking about, is just finding those completions when they're not there. But like I said, I think every team has their shots up every week.
Why don't you think that's been a part of Daniel's game?
That's a good question. When you look at it, I don't know. I think in 2020 or whatever it was, I think it might have been 2020, I think you had 134.3 QB rating on passes over 20 plus yards. So he's done it, you know what I mean? Like I said, I think calling the right plays and those shots that are there, you got them, take.
We're kind of asking about just the deep ball, but can you count on some of the explosives where it's more of a 10, 15-yard throw, but it's in range to run?
Yeah, for sure. That's the run after the catch explosives too, and I think we got guys that we can get the ball in their hands, whether it is a 10-yard pass or a 15-yard pass, like you said, and that catch and run creates the explosive as well.
How does Tyler factor in all that? Because I know you guys said after you drafted you wanted someone to exploit the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Are you seeing, have you seen so far what you hope to have seen?
Yeah, it's been great. Training camp's been great, but now it's time to go do it, on Sunday.
Do you grade those differently when it comes to explosive plays? Like, I don't know, the run after the catch explosive versus the one where it's I catch you out of bounds? Like, how do you view it as a coach?
That's a good question. I think explosives come on the ground as well. I think they come through the air. Just different ways, finding ways to get those explosive plays. I think a lot of people talk about air yards sometimes, and that's cool. But I think too, it's like It might not be a 30-yard pass in the air. You know what I mean? It might be the 10-yard pass that goes for 30. So like I said, it's taking those shots when they're there, and then when they're out there, checking down.
I think the league is like counts them as 20+ yards for a pass and 10+ yards for a run.
Mhm.
Do you have a different number that you
Usually that's the league average. I mean, sometimes I've been around places that are 15+, you know, in our own little setting. But yeah, 15, 20 is right around there.
You guys used JT a lot last year, especially late in the season. Do you feel the need to monitor him at all as the season ramps up? Or?
I think he's in great physical shape right now. So feel really good about where he's at from a health standpoint, from his mindset. And then as you go through the season, you know, we'll monitor it that way, but feel good about going into week 1.
What have you seen from Howard in these last few weeks to be confident that we can kind of cut him loose on Sunday?
Yeah, he's made a ton of plays in practice. Like I said, he's a veteran player that's taken the ball away a ton in his career. And I think his smarts on the back end, the way he sees routes, recognizes splits, all those different things play into that with a veteran player. I think that's what makes those guys really good, is understanding the game, especially on the back end. Like, you can go out and play man-to-man, and it's you versus him, and it's a one-on-one matchup, but it's also when you're in zone coverage and understanding what teams are doing, the route combinations. I think that's a big part of it.
There's Shane Steichen. Kind of interesting what he had to say about making sure that discipline doesn't become a problem with this team, that they make sure not give 15 yards to the opponent because they lose their minds and lose their tempers. That's kind of interesting. And interesting also hearing his thoughts about Jim Irsay and how important this season is. It's important for a lot of reasons. Number one is job retention, right? But what they got to do, and the job retention issue takes care of itself if you go out and win. That's kind of all you got to do.